Let's call in our next speaker, Ms. Andrea Henao, to find out more about consumers in Europe. Andrea, over to you.
Great. Thank you very much. Then thank you for waiting until now, since it's quite late. We'll go through that exciting campaign called Beyond Your Clothes. But before we start, I would like to ask a very simple question, but that might be a bit difficult to answer actually and find the right answer. Could you guess how many months of drinking water are required to process one single cotton t-shirt? I'm not talking about a pair of jeans or a coat, really just one single cotton t-shirt. Well, if you have the answer, do not hesitate to enter your answer in Slido, and we'll go through your answers at the end, at a later stage. Can we please go to the next slide? Then, Beyond Your Clothes is the name of the campaign that has been initiating by, sorry, it's not the same presentation I have here, it's fine. Understanding the impact of our clothes consumption is the first step to trigger a more sustainable consumption and improve our social and environmental impacts. And this was the entire goal of the campaign implemented by Sequa on the behalf of the European Commission. Then the aim of the Beyond Your Clothes campaign was to increase awareness, triggering a change in consumer purchase behavior through educational, inspirational, and attractive pieces of content. Next slide, please. We were talking to 3 different target audiences. The first one was sustainably completely unconscious, and our role was to educate them. The second target audience was slightly more conscious about their impact on the environment when it comes to clothes consumption, and they were the sustainably conscious audience, and our role was to provide information to them. And the last audience, sustainably active, was really to make them advocate and relay the entire initiative. Next slide, please. Then if we look further down into who are these different target audiences, and the fast fashion one, we all know someone in our entourage who really is into fast fashion, who buys probably once a week clothes, who has really a frenetic behavior, consumption behavior. They turn completely a blind eye when it comes to sustainability or when it comes to clothes consumption impacts. Next slide, please. When it comes to conscious shoppers, actually, this is a much bigger chunk of our target audience. And this segment is much more aware of their clothes consumption consequences, and it's actually a bigger group. Even a recent Nielsen study demonstrated that consumers' commitment to sustainability now completely outperform those that don't. Next slide, please. Then regarding the sustainably active audience, then there we had, because we talked with all the different target audiences, and this one actually is surprisingly young. It's what we call Gen Z, and it's the generations that come after the millenniums. And there, they really are into recycling clothes, into upcycling, and a lot of them shop secondhand and are really trying to find solutions to repair or really upcycle clothes. And there is a lot of designers actually that maneuver into that direction. Next slide, please. Then there is 4 main markets. Next slide. It's okay on your side, thank you. Then there were 4 more markets where we were planning this campaign. One has been added at a later stage, but it was France, Germany, Netherlands, and Belgium, and Italy has been added to the mix. And next slide, please. As any other campaign, it always comes with challenges and opportunities. And one of the challenges that we were confronted to is that the fast fashion target audience is fairly young and really growing in a fast changing world with a tiny attention to brand to ads. Hence, it was really important to keep in mind that we had only a few seconds to attract their attention. And this was the entire really intention of the campaign. Next slide, please. A second challenge that we came across is the fact that we were talking to a very overwhelmed target audience. Then they've been hit recently by the first signs of climate change, but also by a full year of COVID-19. Then we were really having that constraint of having to be really careful, and being too heavy with imagery, we would have frightened this already overwhelmed audience. Then during that whole campaign, we really tried to find the right balance between triggering emotion, interest, and showing the harsh reality. Next slide, please. Then in terms of opportunities, one of these opportunity in this campaign is that, and it's the strength of this campaign, is that the smart textile projects do not promote a brand or a product. This campaign truly enabled to inform the target audiences on the disastrous environmental impact and social consequences of fast fashion. Another opportunity, if I can say, next slide, please, or I would say a constraint that we transform on an opportunity, next slide, please, is the fact that after one full year of COVID-19, it resonated as an introspection within a lot of consumers, and really many studies are proving and going into that direction. Then for some, it really changed their perception on their own consumption and their implications. And this leads to the next slide. Then here we really see on the next slide, please. Perfect, thank you. Then we really see that the consumer is on the top of a pyramid, and his choice into close consumption is directly impacting production, which is itself impacting the environment, and it does have some social aspects. And in terms of consumer journey, I would say, then we had the desire, we really tried our best to create the most desirable and attractive assets in order to attract and for them to look further into the message, making them realize that unsustainable consumption leads to a social impact and environmental consequences, trying to inspire them and show them that another more sustainable consumption is completely possible and easily reachable. Next slide, please. Then we can go through the website that has been, I'm not sure we can go through the website. Then what I would advise is, if you can write that down, the name of the website is www.beyondyouclothes.com. It's a parallax website. It's been done by developers in JavaScript and PHP. However, it's completely interactive. There is a lot of different information that we provide. There is expandable sections for the people who are sustainably active and looking forward for further in-depth information. Then I would really highly recommend if you can check at www.beyondyouclothes.com and tell us what you think actually through social networks that we'll review after. Then next slide, please. Next as well. Thank you. Then in fact, in terms of what we call a communication architecture, this is a proper campaign we are talking about now. Then we were playing with different mediums. Then we have an activation into outdoor, some with the website and other with Google ads, and also with social media ads and organic planning as well across Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We can scroll down. Next slide, please. And there we can see, next slide, please. Thank you. And there we can see, we can watch now the video. Can you please turn the video on? That it's a trailer of the campaign. Thank you very much. Perfect. Thank you very much. We can go back to the presentation now. Thank you. Then next slide. Then we warmly thank the team of River Blue who created that documentary. It's required 2 years actually to obtain the authorization to film in Bangladesh, China, and India, and it's a very well documented piece of content. If you have the time to look at our website, look at environmental consequences, expandable section, and there you will see the video. Then now on the following slide about, then we had some, previous slides. Then we had initiative ambassadors. Previous slide, please. Then we gathered sustainable influencers around the world, then from Sweden, France, Germany, even the US, who were keen to relay this campaign. Then next slide, please. And then we had a chalk, and we are having a chalk graffiti implementation this Saturday across 4 different cities of the globe. Can you please go to the next slide? Thank you. Then everything is going to be relayed on the different social networks. If you can go to the next slide. Exactly. Then we'll have that wave of clothes that is going to be reinterpreted by 4 different artists in 4 different cities at almost the same time, in different time zones. But yeah, it's going to be relayed in our social media platform if you would like to take a look at it. Next slide, please. We have also then done a huge work into Instagram, really working on the key visual to make them as attractive as possible, but meanwhile showing the harsh reality. This is really the perfect example on how we really tried to convey these 2 different parameters. Next slide, please. We also had some, and we continue having some content uploaded on TikTok. There, actually, it's a very young audience. People engage quite well. And then there we have also some live sessions. And you can see the all content that has been uploaded, and it's much more about the solutions, actually. It's really important to show the harsh reality, but show as well that to have a sustainable consumption and to actually create, for example, biodegradable textiles, it's possible. There is a lot that is being done right now in terms of innovation. And if we want to inspire the different audiences, the producers, as well as the consumers, it's important to show all these solutions. And there you can find them on TikTok. Not all of them, of course, but some of them that are quite inspiring. Next slide, please. Yeah, you can look at the last live session that has been done a bit more than a week ago. Then thank you very much. Next slide, which is actually wrapping up and showing the entire length of the campaign. Then it's going to be ending up at the end of this month. We are already preparing an extension, but however, you can really watch everything in Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and the name of the account or the content to look at, it's Beyond Your Clothes for all these platforms. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for explaining, among others, how you have been raising consumer awareness of sustainable fashion. A quick reaction on your very first question about what is the quantity of water that is required to produce a T-shirt, how many liters? And the Slido replies we've got so far indicate a quantity over 2,500 liters. Can you confirm that?
It is true. It is true. The exact, actually, number of months required of drinking water, and for someone in India or in Africa where they actually currently experience problem of drinking water, it's actually 2.5 years just to produce 1 T-shirt. And we produce over 2 billion T-shirts per year. Then it's extravagant. It's really, people need to understand better when they buy a T-shirt that it's not only the price that comes on the tag, but there is a real environmental cost that everyone is paying, actually.
Indeed, we better think twice before we throw away our t-shirts. Let's now go back to me.